Welcome back to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm John White. With me today is Carol Sutherland. Carol is the extension entomologist at New Mexico State University. Carol, we've had a recent bee death in New Mexico, so it'd be appropriate to spend a little time on the program here talking about bees.
Right. We're talking specifically about honeybees here. And we also have some more notes to pass along about Africanized honeybees, where they've been found in the state, and some safety, security type issues that we need to bring up with all homeowners and everyone, building maintenance people and the like.
Okay. Now, as far as a homeowner that might see a bee or two around a piece of property, how do you recognize a potential site or
Okay. A bee problem.
Yeah,
All right.
bee problem.
Yeah, well, around the garden, of course, I think everybody's got some blooming plants, and when you go out there to your garden, you occasionally see bees out visiting those flowers. In a situation like that, it's a non-threatening sort of situation. It probably is not a bee problem at all. Of course, you want to give those bees some wide berth. You don't want to antagonize them or interfere with their free movements. They're basically just foraging. They're out picking up nectar and pollen, and they'll be moving back and forth from flower to flower, back and forth to their hive, wherever they happen to be. And they're nothing to be concerned about. But what we are concerned about is that people get in the habit now of making some regular bee patrols around their property, looking for potential trouble spots where bees may be actually nesting, and they may not be aware of them. And this is especially true if they happen to be nesting in or around their home, because that can be especially damaging.
Well, we have I guess a potential site here on the campus here.
Right.
This tree here, it has a hollowed out limb on it.
Right.
And those kind of things could be a potential.
Yes. Apparently with this situation in Carlsbad recently where the person was killed, there was a feral colony, that is a wild colony of bees, that has moved into a hole, a hollow spot in a tree. From what I gather, the hole was about 4 foot long and about 9 inches in diameter over parts of it, and there was ample room inside for a colony to move in to create lots of wax comb to reproduce, and there were probably thousands of bees in there.
Okay. Where are Africanized bees being found? What confirmed cases do we have here, and how widespread is it in New Mexico?
Okay. Well, back up here for a second and give a little bit of background information here. Africanized honeybees were brought into the New World in about the mid-50s. They were accidentally released. They became established in nearby jungle areas of parts of Brazil, and they were brought in initially to try to beef up the pollination practices of the European honeybees that had been used even in the tropics at that time, and they were trying to make a better bee. The bees were accidentally released. They moved out into the environment, became established, and then they started moving every which possible way they could. We were most concerned here, of course, about the bees that came north. It did take them about almost 40 years to move into the United States. They first showed up in 1990, late in the year, near Brownsville, Texas, down in that extreme southern tip. Here in New Mexico, they first were detected here on Halloween Day of 1993. They were first found in Hidalgo County, and since that time we have added 9 more counties where we have Africanized honeybees. These include the counties all across the southern tier of the state. So that includes Hidalgo, Grant, Catron, Luna, Sierra, Doña Ana, Otero, Eddy, and Lee counties that we know of so far. And most recently we have had some hybrid bees, that is a combination of European and Africanized honeybees, confirmed from the eastern side of Bernalillo County. And we don't have any counties in between there, so it's a big question on how that came about. But we have had Africanized bees recovered from swarms. We've had them recovered from situations where they have invaded the walls of homes, where they have been in storage buildings or in utility housings, a variety of places, in sheds, under eaves of homes, places that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think to look.
What's the best thing for a homeowner or county resident to do if they do, see a swarm or or a suspected area.
Right, okay. A swarm of bees is a large mass of bees. There's a queen that's on the inside of this swarm and a number of workers, hundreds, sometimes maybe even thousands of workers. And it's just kind of an animated moving ball.
And this is a natural
This
process
is a natural
with bees.
process with bees. European honeybees typically will do this once a year. The old queen will oftentimes leave with a certain retinue of her followers, and then there'll be a new queen that is produced in the old nest.
So when you see this, you don't necessarily have an Africanized.
Not necessarily,
colony.
no.
It's just a
The
natural.
Africanized honeybees, they are wild animals, and sometimes when they're out established as they are in the wild, they may run out of access to food or water, or conditions change, become unfavorable. And at that time, they may just pick up and move. They'll change the entire location of their colony. So that's when they get to be unpredictable and quite dangerous at that point, because they can show up in places there wasn't any problem there yesterday, but now all of a sudden there's bees coming in and out, say, of a utility housing or of a building, a shop, places like this where it could be quite dangerous.
Now, if you're unfortunate enough to find yourself into a situation where you may have a mad bee after you, or several bees,
Right.
what do you do?
Run. Just drop everything you've got and run. You know, don't
Don't swat them.
don't swat at them. Don't take off your hat. Don't hang on to your belongings. Just pick up and run. And if, while you're running, if you're wearing a jacket or if you're wearing a blouse or shirt with a collar, you might want to pull it up around the back of your neck, because they will sting your neck and your head. You're going to try to outrun these guys. We know that you'll probably not be able to avoid all of them, but you're sure going to avoid a lot of them. And you don't want to spend any more time in that area than what you have to. You just want to pick up and run.
Don't
Run
jump
as
in
far.
a swimming pool.
No.
Don't jump in water.
Right, don't jump
Run.
in water. Run, because all it'll do is sting you when you have to come up for air.
So if you live in one of the 10 counties that has had confirmed cases, and maybe on the fringe of some of the others, kind of know what the emergency plan is for that area. So if you are in that situation, you need to know whether you call 911 or
Right.
you call the exterminator
Yeah,
first.
right. But in an emergency situation where you're under attack right then, or where they're perhaps milling all over the surface of a house or something like that, or attacking someone or an animal or something like that, 911 would certainly be appropriate. Where you've got a little bit of time and where attack is not imminent, that's where you need that pest control operator.
There are some written publications that are available at your local county extension office that gives you a little more detail about Africanized bees and honeybees in general. And so, Carol, again, thank you very much for being a guest on Southwest Yard and Garden.
Thanks.